Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. This is the first day to our business week, second day of the week, and we are glad to be on this side of the dirt. Good morning. I am Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette, where we offer a solution to all of your etiquette dilemmas. I'd like to welcome you to Mind Your Manners Monday. This is Mind Your Manners Monday, and for those of you that are already at work, those of you that are on the way, and those of you that will arrive later, and that are watching this broadcast. Thank you for being a part of our platform on this morning. Broadcasting to you live from the great windy city of Chicago, Chi-Town we like to call it, because we are the best in the Midwest, and we appreciate you being here on this morning. So, this is still July, and I'm grateful that we have taken a respite from the super hot weather that we had on last week, and grateful for the cooler weather on this week, but I understand it's supposed to heat up again later this week. So I just like to remind you to be safe when you're out in the warm weather. Don't be out longer than you have to be. Cover yourselves. If you do have to be out, by cover, I mean like wear a hat or something to protect yourself from the sun. And all my brown and brown skinned people, hey, listen, we need sunscreen as well. It's important that we protect our skin just as well as everyone else does, as our Caucasian friends do. So for all of our black and brown people, apply sunscreen, drink plenty of water. Keep yourself hydrated in these hot temperatures. And for your little ones, please do the same for them. Don't take your babies out uncovered. Do not take your babies out uncovered. Make sure that you apply sunscreen to them as well liberally, and make sure that they too have something to drink. So that's my little intro on this morning, but we're going to move right along. For those of you who may not know who I am Lady Victoria from Victoria School of Etiquette, and I'm broadcasting, I already told you, live from Chi-Town in Chicago. Thank you so much for being here. We want to jump right into our topic on this morning. As I said, we are addressing our children when it comes to manners in the month of July. So last week we talked about our children on last week. How have you prepared your children for the culture in someone else's environment or in someone else's home? And so today we want to address the topic of respect. And I'm reversing the roles a little bit. It applies to our children before adults. Do your children deserve your respect? Do you honor your children by respecting them? How should we show respect unto our children? Is it something that is earned, or is it something that every person automatically deserves? Thank you for joining us on this morning. Please feel free to like and share and post your comments in the comments section. Like and share across your social media platforms. I appreciate that. So when it comes to respecting our children, you say, well, they're children. I know I grew up in an era, my parents came from a place where, listen, I am the adult, you are the child, and you just do what I say and don't ask any questions. That's just the era that they came from. And oftentimes, as parents, we often model that same type of behavior towards our own children. We parent our children oftentimes in the way that we were parented. Sometimes we say, I'm never going to do that. We do the opposite. We say, I'm never going to treat my children that way. I will never speak to or address my children in that manner. Again, every family and every home has its own culture. But when it comes to respect, guess what? Everyone is deserving of respect, even our children. Even our children deserve our respect. Sometimes, as parents, we say, well, I'm respectful to my children just by giving them instruction and telling them what to do. Respect is much more than that. Children have an opinion, and sometimes as parents, we have to understand that their opinion should be honored. Their opinion should be addressed. Their opinion should be considered. And when we're showing respect unto them, that's exactly what we're doing. Now, I'm not speaking about ill-mannered behaviors that we allow to overflow and take over everything. That's not addressing. What I am addressing this morning is just giving consideration to their thoughts, giving consideration to the things that they might make a request of. We are our children's first model. We are setting them up for life. And when we treat them in a certain way, we are showing them how they should be treated and how they should interact with other human beings. So while they're small, while they're young, while they're 3, 4, and 5 years old, we sometimes should still respect whatever opinion that they have. We're showing them deference. By showing respect, we're giving them consideration of their thoughts. We're letting them know that they are valued. We are showing them that they are appreciated, that we appreciate their input, right? So we're showing them deference. We're honoring them. And so we're teaching them that this is how other people should treat them. And this is also how they too should treat others. So we are their first pattern to go by. And one of the ways, I think one of the biggest ways that we can show respect unto our children is simply by saying, I'm sorry. Simply by saying, I am sorry. Because you know what? As parents, we sometimes make mistakes. I look back, I have 4 children, 4 adult children. They are all married, and they are off on their own, living their lives. But I remember sometimes when they were younger, in situations that they might have been in, and they might have said or did something, and I didn't approve of it. I didn't approve of what they said, or didn't approve of what they did, or it wasn't in alignment with what I was saying. So oftentimes, there were times when I completely dismissed it. Didn't give it a second thought. No, I'm the parent. This is the way we're doing this. This is how it goes, and that's it. That's all. Don't ask any questions. Just do what I say. And so sometimes that's the road that I took. But when I look back on things now, I see perhaps how I could have handled some of those situations differently. It didn't have to go out that way. Sometimes my children, let me use my own self as an example. Sometimes my children were disciplined, and perhaps I could have handled it another way. Perhaps I didn't need to say it that way. Perhaps I didn't need to punish them in that manner. But again, I was following the model or the template that was given me as a parent. And we grow and we evolve in everything. And so even in parenting, when you became a parent, it was the first time you were a parent. So we learn, right? We make mistakes. Sometimes we don't do the things we should do. Sometimes we realize later that we could have done things differently. And so, as a parent, it is definitely okay to say, I'm sorry. Sometimes we don't say, I'm sorry to our children because we think that if we say that I'm sorry, that our children are going to disrespect us even more, or that they're going to think less of us, that they're going to think perhaps that we are weak as a parent. And that is not the situation. Oftentimes, when we make mistakes, when we can apologize to our children, guess what? We find out that our children, Lisa, thank you for being here. Hello, Lisa. Hi, Rachel. Hey, Brother Nate, God bless you. Thank you for being here. When we apologize to our children, we find out oftentimes that they respect us even more. I love to have you on my show. Oh, Lisa, I love to. I love to. Let's chat about that. Even our children deserve our respect. True words. Thank you. Yes, our children do deserve our respect. And so when we can say I'm sorry to our children, and I have my oldest daughter on here, I'm sure that she could sign on to that. That there was when I didn't say I'm sorry. But as I grew in wisdom as a parent, I came back and said, hey, you remember that time when such and such, or she may have reminded me, and I was able to say, I'm sorry. And I think that it helps us to grow in the eyes of our children. They see us as honorable, and they see that we value them and that we respect them and that we have consideration for them. So we're adding value to their lives. We're adding value to the relationships that they are going to have later. So parents, on today, I want us to consider minding our manners when it comes to our children. And sometimes it doesn't have to be our children, but any younger person. It can be nieces, nephews, and we have grandchildren. I have grandchildren. It can be anyone. in whatever environment that you are in whatever area that you might be servicing. If you work with children, if you work with youth in your church, if you work now it's summertime, so if you're in a day camp situation or if you're leading a VBS, it's okay as an adult to say I'm sorry to children. We want them to know at a very young age that they are valued. We want them to know at a very young age that they are worthy. This is a part of showing deference to our younger generation. If we don't model it before them, they may not know, or they may get a misrepresentation of what it should look like. And as adults, as they grow up, they can be mishandled in a number of ways. And I don't want that to come back to my doorstep because I didn't say I'm sorry, because I didn't show respect unto my own children or to the youth that you serve. It could even be in your workplace. You could be in your workplace and perhaps your supervisor younger than you. This oftentimes happens in the workplace. Sometimes your supervisor or those that are in management may be younger than you. So you have experience, they have youth. But that shift of responsibility and who's in charge sometimes put the elder at a disadvantage, or we feel disadvantaged because we feel like this young person is coming in here and they have their college degree and they've only been in the workforce 5 or 10 years, and I'm sitting here with 20 years experience. They can't tell me anything. I wish she would walk over here and tell me how to do this when I've been doing this for 30 years or when I've been doing it for 20 years or whatever. Not behave that way. We should not behave that way. We should be open to correction. And I have found that sometimes my children have said something to me that corrected my thought pattern, that shifted my thought pattern because I was open